They gonna take me off the.
We the best. Say what? Yo, who was that? ATL show coming live. Speak about the world. Know that we a show. We got ATL Legacy, the podcast. On God, we're taking over with the ATL show.
Naya, what?
The ATL show's on. Duh.
I just.
Get out! Get
But
out!
Naya, it's supposed to be for adults only. It's supposed to be.
ATL, they're back.
It's my time again.
Anthony, Tioma, T Savage, Legacy.
They did.
They're back. They're the best. Let's get it. Season 2.
I'm the best at this shit, that's fact. And there's only one reason that I came back. I'm here to set the fucking record straight. Okay, I'm the best you ever cast, just fell the way. First off, ain't no beef with the spitters in my city. But if it comes with 28, then shit get gritty. I'm shitty. Yeah, I shit on rappers. Either dead on the scene, since you wanna be actors. Just the message. I'm talking over hills and places. The school little feeling foggy, I'll be patient and waiting. It seems y'all forgot who really runs the throne. Screaming y'all number one, just because I was gone. See, ain't no stopping me now. I'm on the move. I'm on against me. Once when you ready to lose. The game, the street, the zone is took. This the message. Hope it leave you from your rappers. Sure. Yeah. The message. So y'all know. Yeah. The monster is back. And I'm at my spot.
ATL,
Legacy Unlocked. When you're locked out of your vehicle, can't get in your car, call Legacy, serving West Palm Beach and surrounding cities. That's area code 229-630-7615. Available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Have you been denied disability, Social Security, or custodianship of your children? Call Antonio Williams. He has the knowledge and experience to fight the government on your behalf. Let him represent you. That's Antonio Williams, your non-legal attorney consultant.
Just-in-time accessories. We have the bling and everything in between. Tayama Copeland is your independent paparazzi consultant. Everything is only $5. You can catch Tayama on Facebook Live at Tayama Copeland, or you can find her at www.justintimeaccessories. Just in Time Accessories. We have the bling and everything in between. Check it out. Just in Time Accessories. We have the bling and everything in between. Tayama Copeland is your independent paparazzi consultant. Everything is only $5. You can catch Tayama on Facebook Live at Tayama Copeland, or you can find her at
Make sure you go over to Goli.com and get your Goli gummies today. They have 3 selections, 3 choices to choose from. They have the apple cider vinegar, the ashwagandha, and new, they now have the superfruit. In addition to going over to GoliGummies.com, make sure you use the ATL as your discount code and receive a huge discount. It supports the channel and the podcast. In addition to all of that, the gummies, they're a source of antioxidant. They have vitamins B9, B12, promotes general good health, helps improve your daily health, contains pectin, a source of dietary fiber, uses pectin as a natural prebiotic to support the healthy gut and immune system, includes the mother, a healthy strain of bacteria, antioxidants, and enzymes. Mask the unpleasant taste of the apple cider vinegar. It's simple, it's delicious, it's Goli.
Good evening. Welcome back
Welcome back. Welcome to the Anthony Brown Show, this segment that we call the ATL. I just want to remind everybody, definitely hit that subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, definitely subscribe. It costs you absolutely nothing to subscribe. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up, which is a like button. And if you comment below, we will show your comments live here on the screen, and we will respond accordingly. Welcome to the ATL Show. I'm joined tonight by my sister from another, Miss Light Bright herself, Miss Tiama Sweetness.
Hey, everybody. Y'all,
Yeah.
guess what? I met our number one fan just now, Kamal.
Oh, you finally met Kamal?
Yes, child. I pulled up on him as soon as we left the hospital. I told my mom I had to stop. So I stopped. He was like, I'm so excited and scared at the same time. Shorty do walk got the man feeling I'm full military.
You should have took a picture so I could have posted it.
Huh?
You should have took a picture so I could have posted it.
No, he took the pictures so Kamal could actually give you the pictures.
I'll reach out to him, no problem. I'm also joined by my brother from another, the pain in my back, my neck, my side, a thorn. Oh, I tell you. Legacy the Great.
ATL.
And of course, this young lady got the juiciest cakes on this side of the Mississippi River. Duncan Hampton got shit on her. Miss Juicy Cake.
Blessings, everybody. Blessings.
Make it clap.
How are you all doing?
Make it clap.
Listen, they ain't ready. They ain't ready.
They ain't ready. They're not ready.
No, I said hello, and the man was like, "Hey." I'm like, "No, I'm talking to them."
J Boss, how you doing, J Boss? Make sure you click that subscribe button. J Boss says, no, it's not a sin. We don't choose it either. Is sexuality a sin? Okay.
He done jumped into the subject already. First, we greet each other, J Boss. We say, "Hey, ATL."
Come on, says I just met Tiama, and she is more awesome in person than on the podcast. Come on,
Man,
send me that picture. Come
man, get the shaman's tissue out your hand, man, and start wiping your goddamn nose. God damn, come on.
Come on, says I was excited
Hey,
and
and
scared at the
Legacy.
same damn time. This was a great day for me.
Oh, John, I'm so awesome.
Come
Man,
on.
that man just admitted he was scared as hell. That's why that man doing all that.
Boy, you be around me way more than anybody. You don't be scared.
Oh, yes,
Wow.
Mama Legacy doing me wrong.
I'm sorry, Mama. I'm sorry.
How's everybody's day going so far?
Busy.
Going good.
My day's been wonderful. I just went on and said, let's go take a ride. So
Ain't nothing wrong
I'm
with
glad my car worked.
Amen.
Yeah, because you have so many issues from time to time with your vehicle, boy. I tell you.
I did. Now I can just go on and slide on out. Slide.
In your slider. I'm trying to find this one video that Legacy, here it is right here. That Legacy sent to me. Let me see if I copy.
While you get that together, Tony, I want to bring something to the attention. We talked about this on the show about a month ago, and I told y'all the Supreme Court was going to do away with Roe versus Wade. Today, they did away with Roe versus Wade, and women can no longer have abortions legally.
Isn't that terrible? I was going to bring that up. Yep, that is awful. So women no longer have the right to make a decision pertaining to their own bodies.
Is that like nationwide? Nationwide?
That's
Is
federal.
that what
That's
I saw?
everywhere. Federal.
Everywhere.
That's federal.
Wow.
So that means if you
That that that,
so that means if
and
you
not only that, go ahead, Tony, go ahead.
so if you're out here with that sneaky link, end up getting pregnant, and I don't know what you're gonna tell your main man or your husband or your boyfriend, but guess what? You can't get no abortion.
Mm-hmm. But guess what else? Not only did
Like
they
we
strike that
can't
down,
get one, or it's like it's illegal to do it. Period.
it's illegal to do it, period.
OMG,
And guess what
OMG.
else? Guess what else? When they also made it to where if you have been raped, you have to have a baby too.
Oh, for real?
Wow.
Yeah, there's no exceptions.
No exceptions to the rule.
So what's gonna happen around these abortion clinics? They're gonna close?
What I mean right now is just a federal ruling, and then the states have to take it and break it down throughout the states. Some states, right now, they say it's like 13 or 14 states that had already made it illegal in their state. But right now, by the ruling, I guess eventually it'll catch up to each state to where if let's say for instance, if a woman right now goes and get an abortion, and the father did not agree with it, she could probably go to jail.
Mm.
But
So not
that's
right.
murder.
I be sitting there rocking back and forth, very content.
Wow.
That mean don't let it go inside you. You ain't gotta worry about it coming at you. It's
Wow.
heavy today, but what I was just watching before the show started, the lady that's in New York that was assigned to the governor's seat, that was a Democratic governor. She's a Democratic fill-in for him. She is now already on the move because everybody's trying to get that Democratic seat in New York because New York. But what they didn't realize was not just to hold us off because I know we got to move on, but this was important. I wanted to say it is that we don't understand the significance of this overturning because if they can overturn this rule right here, just imagine if they wanted to go back and overturn and remove the bill that released us from slavery.
Exactly.
Now you understanding why I said, ooh, that's not good. Because
Yes.
ain't nobody complaining about ain't nobody doing nothing about this overturning.
Well, it's hard to do anything just
Look,
to go with the Supreme Court.
Vaseline, no Vaseline. Not even a kiss. Raw dog.
But it's crazy. It's scary too because it just lets me know. And we talked about it. And you and Tam both had some interesting statements on it about, the ramifications of taking that away from women, of how they'll find more women injured in that area because you're not going to stop something from happening that women want to be done. And you're not going to prevent people who do believe in it from making a way for women to be able to get that done. Let's look at Dr. Kevorkian. Dr. Kevorkian was really not a murderer. People would come to him willingly for him to assist them in dying from the pains and stuff that they were, going through. And even though he never really killed anyone, they found a way to punish him. But guess what? They haven't stopped. They still haven't stopped people from killing themselves, have they?
Mm-mm.
Can't
Wow.
stop what's already going to be happening.
On a lighter note, Father's Day. I want to share some interesting photos. There was a father that posted his video showing his love for his daughter, and it went viral. So as a result, someone else did it, and it too also went viral.
I love Naya to death. I'm never doing that.
thought
Read it to me. Read it to me. Read what it say.
I can't see it because I got writing on top of my screen.
Hold on, it says,
Too.
hold on, it says, one of the best feelings is watching my daughter fall in love with the man I fell in love with, and the man I fell in love with fall in love with the child we created out of love. Happy first Father's Day to my baby daddy.
So when this guy posted this picture and went viral, this guy also did it.
So these are two men in a male relationship that have a daughter.
No.
No.
These are heterosexual men.
Oh, I misunderstood what he read.
Yeah, the mother took the picture and posted the picture.
Oh, the mother. Okay.
Cornette,
Yes.
at the house before Father's Day, me and my daughter and my little sister-in-laws came over to the house and saw you. You saw me at a vulnerable moment playing Twirly League with little girls.
Yes.
I'm willing to do all of that. I'm with it. That's my everything. The great oxygen that I breathe. I love Naya, but I'm not putting on no tutu for Naya. I make up it out, but I ain't putting no. I make mud pies. She can put blush and rose and lipstick all on my face and all of that. I'll be her mannequin. But we just ain't dressing that up and that ain't dressing down.
I think that was such a beautiful picture, a beautiful moment. It was very touching.
It could have been beautiful without him doing that.
I guess it could have, but this is his way of expressing it.
Woo! Now I like that picture there as well. But he could have had on some shorts. It would have been just as beautiful.
He got on shorts under his skirt.
We ain't got no business with no skirt on.
I thought those were very, very nice pictures of heterosexual men that showing the love for their daughters, their babies. Thelma.
She probably getting a mama situated.
I see a plate of food.
What happened to Juicy?
I don't know. She's out walking, so she probably lost a signal.
Yeah. Well, let's move on.
If you tune in tonight, tonight's topic is homosexuality a sin? And what do you think? And it's also Pride Month. So this is we have this show and one more show for the month of June, which celebrates Pride Month for the LGBTQIA plus community. What legacy?
Hey, if I did all of that, I'd have been banned next week.
Why? That's what it is. The LGBTQIA plus.
Oh, the IA. Okay. I got to be politically correct.
Yeah, I gave it to you. Politically correct.
All right. Kamal said them dudes were always looking for an excuse to wear a dress. I always wanted my daughter to love me as the man I am, not some I will fall for anything that that's not strong. Them boys ain't heroes.
Ain't hetero.
Hetero.
Come on, I beg to differ, but you're entitled to your opinion. And opinions are like assholes. We all have them.
Come on. I don't know about if they walk the other line, But I will say that I just can't see me being a masculine man doing that. I play twirly league and all of that there for my daughter and any child if get to have fun. But you ain't gonna get no picture of me in no dress.
And I don't, and
And
I
you
don't,
know, the
and I don't
funny
think,
part, like the other way around, I've worn a football jersey and shoulder pads with my son, and for the love of him, you know. So I see the concept, but it's different.
It's different.
It's
I
different.
personally, because
It's eye
I,
catching.
I know that they're heterosexual men, I don't think it took anything away from their masculinity.
This is what I want to say about that, Tony. Society as a whole, especially when it comes to black men, has done a lot to emasculate us. Not to say turn us gay, not to say turn us bi, not to say whatever. It's just to emasculate the black men.
True.
Black men are pretty much the strongest on the planet. It's genetically proven. We don't have to use steroids and things of that as all nature because it's already built within us. And they look at us as threats because of us being the dominant species on the planet when it comes to masculinity and things like that. That's why we're always looked upon as a threat, not because we kill any more than any other race. It's just that they know who we are and we don't know who we are. So in order to soften, they like to emasculate the black man. So if that's what Buddy want to do, I can't say he's a homosexual. All I know is he looks like he's a straight guy and he's doing something with his daughter. I just can't go as far as putting on a dress for my daughter or no one else. I just don't want to be portrayed in that.
Hmm.
That's how it is with me.
Okay. Oprah interviewed 6 pastors on this topic: is homosexuality a sin? Let's hear what they had to say, and then we're going to talk about it.
So don't let anybody tell you that it's not loving if you stand flat-footed and speak the truth about this issue of homosexuality. What's not loving is to look someone in the eye when God says they are in jeopardy of an eternity in hell and merely wink and nod at their sin because you're afraid of being called names.
But does that mean that you're saying, because I want to be clear and I don't want to interpret anything that isn't, does that mean that you're saying that you believe that being gay is a sin?
So when you see civil partnerships being sanctioned, you think that's wrong? Presumably.
Well, yeah, I think it's wrong, but I'm not going to bash those people. I'm not going to be against those people. They're good people. They're good people. They're good people.
It's like you are judging the person, aren't you? Aren't you?
Well, to me, I'm not the one to judge and say, who's bad and who's good. Otherwise, you'd have to go through everybody, every one of us and say, well, you know what, I got some pride, or I had an evil thought the other day. Those are sins too. I don't know that God is judging sins on different levels, but we pick out that one. So, our message, if you listen to my message, they're about lifting people up. And so it's not, I really talk about the homosexuality when we get on the interviews. It's an issue that, it's a hard issue, and I don't know that I fully understand it.
So then let me ask you a question, because when you came on Piers Morgan's show a while ago, he asked you about homosexuality, Christianity, homosexuality. And almost every time we have a pastor on, it's a conversation we have. And you are known for these uplifting ceremony services, and you talk to a lot of, it's like 45,000 people who attend. And I always wonder, when you say homosexuality is a sin, and there's a bunch of people who clearly are gay who are in your church, you're calling them sinners.
Well, so that
it's the opposite of uplifting, I would think.
It does, but one, I don't necessarily focus on that. I only talk about that on the interviews. I don't necessarily focus on that. I only talk about that on the interviews.
So don't you think, though, that with the country struggling with increasing acceptance of all its citizens, and you're for basic fairness for everybody, that in situations where, like, we're trying to pass these marriage equality bills in certain states now, that you have an important voice to lend to that, especially to kids who are maybe worried about who they are and where they fit in the community?
Well, I think I have an important voice, but I think I've been good. I think part of my, if you want to call it success, is I've stayed in my lane, and my lane is lifting people's spirits. And there are issues that good Bible-believing people see on both sides of the fence.
So my question is, when you're talking to your 45,000 people in your service, and some of them are gay, you're saying to them, you're a sinner.
Well, Shirley, first off, in my services, I don't cover all these issues that we talk about here. And so you remember, and I don't understand all those issues, and so I try to stick on the issues that I do understand. And I know this: I'm for everybody. I'm not for pushing people down. Obviously, I've watched the story on bullying, stuff, other things like that comes from it. So I don't know where the fine line is, but I do try to stay in my lane and lift people's spirits.
A question coming in from Black 185 in our digital community said, do you think, I'm assuming, LGBT community and the Black church can coexist?
Absolutely.
Let me push that question, because that's sort of an obvious yes. Church ain't turning nobody away. How should the Black church and LGBT community exist?
I think it's going to be diverse from church to church. Every church has a different opinion on the issue, and every gay person is different. And I think that to speak the church, the Black church or white church or any kind of church you want to call it, are all the same is totally not true. And all gay people are not the same. The types of relationships that are afforded are based on the types of people in each individual case. Yeah. And LGBTs of types and sorts have to find a household of worship that reflects what your views are and what you believe, like anybody else. And the church should have the right to have its own convictions and values. If you don't like those convictions and values, you totally disagree with it, don't try to change my house, move into your own and establish that sort of thing, and find somebody who gets what you get about faith. And trust me, I've talked to enough LGBT, they are not all the same.
Oh, for sure. Any more than all Christians.
No.
But how do we, first of all, has your thinking evolved on this?
Evolved and evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Evolved and evolving. Evolved and evolving. Mm-hmm. Evolved and evolving. Well, it's a complex issue. It's a real complex issue, and it was in the Bible days. Sexuality versus spirituality. Paul spends a lot of time wrestling back and forth, trying to understand, should a woman wear her head covered? Should you cut your hair? I mean, they grappled back then, and we're grappling now because we are humans, and we are flawed, and we're not God. Yeah. Once you understand you're not God, you leave yourself an out clause to grow.
I know that's right.
Yeah, to grow.
Hello, I'm Michael. To support this kind of content, you can just do two simple things. 1, subscribe and click the bell icon. 2, click on new videos and watch them until the end. Your support is what motivates me to keep making videos. Thanks for all your support and encouragement.
Just to play devil's advocate, I mean, do you feel like
that's hard for you because you're so sweet.
but do you feel like you have a moral imperative to speak publicly about some of these more controversial issues?
No, because we try to be like Jesus. Very rarely did Jesus ever talk about morality or social issues. He was about the deeper things of the heart.
Every article I've read about you guys says he declined to discuss gay marriage.
Yeah, it's a misquote because I do discuss it, just not the way people want me to. When it comes to homosexuality, I refuse to let another human being or a media moment dictate how we approach it. Jesus was in the thick of an era where homosexuality, just like it is today, was wildly prevalent. And I'm still waiting for someone to show me the quote where Jesus addressed it on the record in front of people. You won't find it because he never did.
Argument number 1 is the argument that Jesus never addressed homosexuality. This is a very popular approach. People will look at this and they'll say, well, you're a Christian, which means you're a follower of Christ, right? Well, yeah, I'm a follower of Christ. Well, as a follower of Christ, it seems very strange to me that you're making a big deal out of something that Jesus never mentioned one time in the gospel. Not one time. And for most Christians, they hear that and we're just sort of taken aback. And, our response is usually something along the lines of, You well, was bad. We don't what? And we just don't know what to say, right? Well, here's what you say. Number one, Jesus did address homosexuality. He addressed it in Matthew chapter 5 and in Matthew chapter 5 and Matthew chapter 19, he addressed the issue of marriage. He rooted his understanding of marriage in the teaching in Genesis chapter 2. The teaching in Genesis chapter 2 that gave us marriage between a man and a woman for the purposes of procreation, illustration, and sanctification. He also made it very clear that what man is joined together, what God has joined together, man cannot separate. In other words, God is the author of marriage, not man. Therefore, God is the one who defines marriage, not man. Therefore, man does not have the right to introduce the concept of same-sex marriage. Number one, because by definition, it's not marriage, it's another thing. And number two, because by definition, it goes against what was created in Genesis chapter 2. So Jesus did address homosexuality.
Do you feel that homosexuality is a sin?
You know, I can't honestly answer on that. I have too many people that I love that they are homosexual. I don't know. I can't say one way or the other. I'm not God. So when people ask questions like that, that's what my go-to is. I just say read the Bible and find out for yourself. And when you find out, let me know, because I'm learning too.
So if one of your kids, let's say one of your male sons, comes to you at 20, 23 years old and says, hey, Dad, this is my husband. We're engaged. We're going to get married next month, and I want you to be in the wedding.
Yeah.
What would you say?
My thing is like this. I don't, like, my brother's gay. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I don't condemn him. I don't look down on him for him being attracted to the opposite sex. You know what I'm saying? That's something.
Same sex.
Yeah, or the same sex, excuse me. I don't condemn him. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, we'll dialogue so that I can have a better understanding. Because I don't profess to be like, I got this all figured out and I know the way this should be. Like, I'm trying to read the Bible. I'm trying to have conversations with people, and I'm trying to understand, you know, the perspective. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like anybody who wants to come at a person negatively, like if you was a Christian and you came at me negatively, then it's like, you're not giving me the grace and the space to be a learner. You know what I mean? Help me, you know, give me the space and the grace to learn. And that's how we move forward. You know what I'm saying? So you could point something out to me and say, hey, this is what it says, Lecrae, you should know better. You should know this. Well, you know, give me the grace and the space to take my time and understand the perspective on it and understand why these people think it this way. And it, like, that's the perspective I have. I'm more of a learner, and I give people the grace and the space as I'm processing and as I'm learning, you know, and just walk with people through that. You know what I mean? To just be a lifelong learner, man.
So what's wrong with homosexuality? A number of things, but just a few in this context. Number one, it's a violation of the created order. It's a violation of the created order. It's not how we were made. Secondly, it denounces procreation categorically. It denounces procreation categorically. And I say categorically because, you know, the homosexual lobby, they try to be slick. Or are you saying that people who are beyond childbearing years shouldn't get married? No, because categorically, they are still the two corresponding parts of humanity that produce children and produce a family that is designed to raise, rear, and protect children. So categorically, they're still in the same ballpark, even if they don't have children. Thirdly, it blasphemes the illustration. It blasphemes the illustration. This is especially true when we understand the illustration of Christ and his bride, the church. And then finally, it denies the very need for sanctification because it takes what God calls sinful and calls it righteous. God calls this an abomination, and we instead call it righteous. It's the only sin, by the way, for which God destroyed cities with fire and brimstone. It's unique. It's unique. It's not like other sins. It's unique. Not all sins are called abominations. Homosexuality is unique in that regard. Very few sins in that category. And not all sins were ended in God destroying twin cities with fire and brimstone. It's unique in that regard. Not all sins are talked about in the Bible, like in Romans 1, as having a penalty in the flesh. Homosexuality is. It's unique in that regard. But listen to this. To suggest in public that homosexuality might be chosen is to open the can of worms labeled moral choice and sin, and give the religious intransigents a stick to beat us with. Straights must be taught, straights must be taught that it is as natural for some persons to be homosexual as it is for others to be heterosexual. Wickedness and seduction have nothing to do with it. And since no choice is involved, gayness can be no more blameworthy than straightness. I want you to notice that this is an argument from Origins. This is an argument based upon their understanding of the nature of man. This is why Genesis matters. They're arguing that this is the way we were made, or this is the way that we have evolved, and therefore there is no morality associated with it. Now, this is a dangerous statement to make. I mean, suppose, we can say that I have a genetic predisposition toward violence. Does that make it okay? Because we can prove that I have a genetic predisposition? If I have a genetic predisposition toward drunkenness, does that make it okay? Officer pulls me over. Sir, you been drinking? Officer, I don't even know. Sir, you want to get out of the car? Okay, but before I do, you should need to know I got that drunk gene. Oh, well, sir, I'm sorry. Please weave on your way. And so, out of step with psychology. What? Psychology proves this stuff? Yeah, because everybody knows that that's how people are born, right? We have the LeVay brain study, Bailey and Pillard's twin study. We have Hamer's X chromosome study. We've got Savik's pheromone study. So of course, all of these things, by the way, none of these things has proven a genetic connection to homosexuality. And even if it did, it wouldn't matter. So this is how they argue. One way they argue is this. They say homosexuality is as immutable as ethnicity. You've heard that, right? It's immutable. It's just like ethnicity. It's just like your race. That's not true. By the way, 1 Corinthians 6, 9-11. Do you not know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of God? Do not be deceived. Neither the sexually immoral, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor men who practice homosexuality, nor thieves, nor the greedy, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor swindlers will inherit the kingdom of God. And such were some of you. But you were washed, you were sanctified, you were justified in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ and by the Spirit of God. That's 2,000-year-old evidence that people stopped being homosexual. 2,000-year-old evidence. You can say what you want about Michael Jackson. He did not stop being black. Another thing you do, as far as jamming, you understand what jamming is. Jamming works when you take two contradictory images and juxtapose them. And so Christian people hate the idea of the Nazis and the skinheads and the KKK. So what you do is you portray people who are against same-sex marriage as being akin to Nazis, skinheads, and the KKK. Since nobody wants to be accused of being a Nazi, a skinhead, or the KKK, eventually nobody's going to want to be accused of being anti-same-sex marriage. This is jamming. This is why in your average Sunday sermon from a pastor that deals with homosexuality, the first third of it will be apologizing. Imagine this on a Sunday morning from a church. Now, church, we're going to address the issue of adultery, but I don't want you to be alarmed. I am not here to bash adulterers. I love adulterers. Jesus loves adulterers. I have friends who are adulterers. And I believe that our church needs to be open and accepting toward adulterers. And I want you to be, right? That just feels wrong, doesn't it? But every time a pastor goes to preach on homosexuality, we expect that to be up front. Why? Because we've been jammed. That's why. We've been jammed. It has been successful. That's why the most onerous sin that you can imagine from a scriptural perspective has us apologizing for saying what God says about it. So don't let anybody tell you that it's not loving if you stand flat-footed and speak the truth about this issue of homosexuality. What's not loving is to look someone in the eye when God says they are in jeopardy of an eternity in hell and merely wink and nod at their sin because you're afraid of being called names.
Well.
That was quite interesting. Well, we're joined also by hey, Mr. Legacy Peach. How are you doing this evening? Thank you for joining us. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Hello, Melvin Johnson. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button as well. There's no such thing as God. Mr. Williams Remedy, clapping hands. How you doing? Thank you for joining us tonight. This is such a touchy subject. Is homosexuality a sin? And then sometimes a lot of, and as you notice, that 6 pastors was interviewed. And out of the 6 pastors, only 1 pastor was truly able to say, the last pastor was able to say, yes, it is. The other 5 pastors kind of dibbled and dabbled and went around the situation without directly answering the question. I was reading the comment in the private chat, but and I want to say this is just my opinion, and I personally, like I was sharing Legacy earlier today when we was having a conversation, I don't think homosexuality is a choice, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. I don't think anyone in their right mind would wake up one day and say, well, I choose to be gay. I choose to be ridiculed. I choose to be ostracized. I choose to be gay bashed. I choose to be beat up. I choose to be protest against, or, you know what I'm saying? So who would choose that lifestyle? That's first of all. Second of all, X and Y chromosomes create all of us. And if one has more female chromosomes, he or she is going to be more feminine. If he or she have more masculine chromosomes, he or she is going to be more masculine. And the reason I say that is because I know of females that have worked with me in previous jobs that, of course, had more male chromosomes, that had full mustaches and beards and had to shave daily, and they were women, heterosexual women that carried themselves as a woman, but yet had more facial hair than me, working. And vice versa, I worked with the men that were so extremely beautiful and pretty, naturally, no augmentation or changing in their bodies, but just was pretty boys, and had soft features. And that's all because of their makeup, their genetic makeup. Legacy, go ahead and share.
Let's just go back a minute and straighten something. Those things doesn't come from the XY chromosomes. When you have a woman who has more manly features like beards and mustache, that comes from her body producing more testosterone than estrogen. And when you have a man who has a more low voice, more feminine energy than regular guys, that comes because his body produces more estrogen than it does testosterone. It has nothing to do with the XY chromosome. The XY chromosomes in the DNA structure makes you woman or man. That's 2 different things. So if you have enough Y chromosomes, I think you're going to be a girl. If you have enough X chromosomes, that generally makes you a boy. Either vice versa, however way it goes. but those are the things that make you man or woman. One thing that and I try my best to know the Bible and know the Quran because I grew up in Christianity and I reverted to Islam. But hearing him talk about, I think he said, whichever chapter it was, I didn't really hear him at that second. But he was saying how he was calling out all the sins that, God say, and it clearly says that homosexuality is a sin. Now the question is this: we have to also wholeheartedly understand: are we going to go by a book that has been tainted and changed and rewrote hundreds and hundreds of times by man? So to me, like the lady said it best, I'm not God, and I don't know the utter truth. So I can't condemn anybody because I've been a whore in my days. And that's also a sin to be having sex with multiple women and I'm not married. That's called adultery. That's called fornication. And he said don't do that too. So, it's kind of hard. One of the best things I like that Christ did say is when they was getting ready to stone the lady for being a harlot, and he says, "Ye without sin cast the first stone." And nobody could throw the stone, and everybody walked away because everybody has sinned.
Right.
So, that's just how I go about my business. Because when Juicy get judged and Terama and Tony get judged by God, he not gonna call me over and say, Legacy, you remember when Tony, remember when Juicy? No, I'm gonna be too busy worried about if I'm finna go to hell. And that's how I think people need to go about life, is worrying about where you're gonna be. Because you don't have a right to judge anybody. That's something that each individual has to take up on their own with God. And that's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
I agree with you somewhat too, Legacy. On we gotta do our we can't be out here judging because we all sinning in some type of way. And I ask people, most people are. Let's put it like that. But at the same time, like some of the things that were mentioned, that all that we heard, that was some wow, and it was like funny. A lot of it was to touch in on the hormones and more testosterone and estrogen. That's been an attack to change the sexuality amongst us for years when they started having us go into the hospital and get prenatal care. The prenatal vitamins and the way that they do the prenatal treatment to the women. Am I bad? Am I bad?
Yes. You're muted. You're muted.
What I want to say is the reason you.
I apologize, y'all.
Go ahead, Juicy.
So I apologize about that. A call came through. I thought my phone was on Do Not Disturb, but it came through anyways. But so we have so many attacks on us as people that are making us be confused, I want to say, and unsure of what we should or shouldn't. And when it comes to sin is of Christianity. So if you're going to put it in that category in the box and then start judging based on that, some things are sin underneath that religion. But if it's not underneath another religion and that terminology, then it's okay. So that's where that choice, when you were saying legacy, to each his own, if it's not hurting people, or, there it is. Now, how much of this homosexuality kind of is hurting us because it's keeping us from procreating, but then there are people out there that are carrying the babies for the couples, and they're still bringing forth relationships in life, you know. So today, it's like it's hard to sit there and say what is a sin or what isn't a sin when we don't know how we're living from the beginning.
I like that. I like that. But I'm gonna say this too. On the other pastors that diverted from actually answering the question, you have to understand those are the mega churches that want to make these $25-30 million a year. They're never gonna say that it's wrong or that it's right because they're not worried about offending the person. They don't want to offend the pocket.
Amen.
And that's what it is. Because just to show as you start to say, if you just as you take a side, you take a stance, like the lady said, you go to offending people. And one of my brothers lives an alternative lifestyle. And I love him to death. And I'll be there for him till the end of time as long as he let me. His lifestyle doesn't affect me. I'm not ashamed to go anywhere with him. I got two sisters that have lived that lifestyle before. I love them to death. And I will be to the end for both of them. People just have to get their life together and understand. Now, what I do hate about the homosexual life, the agenda is let's allow the children.
There's no agenda.
We're gonna just say what is being said out here. We don't. When I say this is we don't know how the masses go about doing things.
Okay.
So we're gonna say the agenda because we both know that there is an agenda to emasculate the black male. There is an agenda to make black women feel lesser than any female on the planet, and it doesn't just come from black men. So there are hidden agendas that are being done throughout society. But let's allow the children to find out about this lifestyle and find out about this way of life on their own journey of life. Let's not advertise it and put it out here and make it to where they see it. We have to, the same way you have to have an age on being able to go in the store and buy cigarette products, liquor. Let's put a cap on what can be seen on TV. And let's let people make a decision on at a certain age if this your angle that you want to go, alhamdulillah. If it ain't, alhamdulillah. But let's not put it in the front and make it to where these children are already feeling certain type of ways, become more and more confused because this is all to the front. We all knew about homosexuality growing up. We probably met one or knew a person had somebody in your family. But it was not out here to the point to where kids were so confused about who the hell they wanted to be. So, I mean, that's my only agenda. That's my only problem with the movement. I want everybody to be happy. But we gotta make a space and a place for where children can be children. Period. I got a daughter. I'm not talking to my daughter about having sex with a grown ass man at 10. I'm not even allowing my daughter to see this at 10. I don't even let her watch kissing scenes when she around me. But there has to be a place for everything. That's the only thing I got with that.
Well, Juicy is our roving reporter tonight. She's out in the streets in the community.
I definitely agree with that, Legacy.
Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Let me see. Go ahead. See if I can hear you. Hello? Can y'all hear? I see my AirPod. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Yes. Have you froze, Juicy?
I think you froze, Juicy.
Yes, he probably froze. Go ahead, Juicy.
I shared my AirPod and the signal went out. Can you hear?
Yes.
We good here.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Peace be with everybody. Everything. Hope all is well. I heard the subject that y'all talking about is homosexuality. Is it a sin or not? Is it immoral? Is it moral? Is it acceptable in the eyes of God and so on and so forth. What I've read and what I believe kind of blends in with the same message that I'm trying to spread on earth. And Yeshua's gospel, the true gospel, he has 12 commandments. One of the commandments is do not have relationships where love and health are not present, and do not corrupt the creatures made pure by the holy. So that could be, human, or it could be an animal, because some people have sex with animals out here. So, all of those things got to be spoken upon when you're talking about those type of relationships, because some people go that far to have sex with animals. But in my eyes, it's all a sin or a transgression of the holy law, because it cannot bring forth fruit, and so people buy their fruits, and it's a fruitless relationship because it's just not natural, and it wasn't there in the beginning. We weren't, we weren't created from those energies. And also, other people have some groups of people have multiple wives, some groups of people have multiple husbands, but I believe in one wife and one husband. And that's what I believe in. Now, some people might think that that's a transgression, that you should have more than one wife. So we're dealing with other nations and stuff like that, and they're creating.
You cutting out, Juice.
She froze.
You froze, Juicy.
Life is so funny.
Tiamo,
Okay, am I back again?
You're back again.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So we're dealing with different nations, and we mix. With some Caucasian mixed with African Americans, some Ethiopians mixed with Indians, and everybody kind of like mixed a little bit. But the Hebrew nation, the 12 tribes, and all that, we were always against certain things like that because we knew that it wasn't going to. The prophets didn't fulfill that prophecy of that having to happen with our children or with our, elders or ancestors. But they're
Froze again.
Yeah, she froze again. Looking like a whole mannequin. Ain't she looking like a mannequin?
Yes.
Oh.
Life is so funny.
All I know from any religion, no matter if it was Jehovah's Witness, Baptist, Catholic, it was a sin.
Now my question, Juicy, my question to your friend was, he was saying he believed in one man, one wife. But if he's going biblically, if he's going by the Bible, in the Bible, in the old days, there was people who had 100 wives, 700 wives, 500 wives, and
concubines.
And concubines. So, and it was right.
But this is my thing. I think that, like I say, most people have. I got a message for Tayama. Somebody text me, one of our fans. He didn't want to say it on here, but one of my cousins told me to tell you, you are that meat.
Okay.
That's what they told me. What they told me.
Solomon, that meat real saucy though. It's real saucy.
Get on topic, girl. But the thing is, we want to thank the gentleman for his words. Wish we would have been able to really had him to have a sit down and give his point of view. But like I said, we go eventually one day find out. But I think what people have to do is, one of the pastors said that he goes along the journey with his congregation. and he goes along the journey with his brother, and he's unjudging. Having a brother that lives the lifestyle and having two sisters that have lived the lifestyle, I'm heterosexual. And but to be around them, they're some of the most loving individuals that I've ever had in my life. So we have to learn to remove ourselves and our personal feelings out of the way from how people live their life, because they're the only ones that are going to have to deal with God about that. As long as those people are not infringing their lifestyle upon you and how you go about doing things, why not enjoy it? Why not befriend them? Why not love them as human beings? Because before I'm a heterosexual, before a person is a homosexual, bisexual, asexual, pansexual, they're a human being.
True.
That's what they are first. So
Corey,
we have
what
to
was
just
your
understand.
question? Sorry, baby. Tony, your question. You were asking, what were you asking?
I was asking, based on if because he said something about going by the Bible and being biblically correct, having one man, one wife, two to make a couple. So if that being said, then what is his views on the Bible, where one man had 100 wives, 700 wives, 500 wives, and concubines in the Bible?
Y'all already know what I be thinking when that stuff be happening. And I just be like, man, why my phone? I mean, what I do?
Did you hear the question?
Well, you still there?
Did you hear the question?
It went out.
Okay, I'm gonna say it again.
What Tony wanted to know was, how does the man feel about men back in the biblical days, way back in the Old Testament, having multiple wives and concubines? And since he's going biblical, how does he feel about God allowing men to have multiple wives and concubines back then? Is that it, Mo?
Yeah, I can hear you. As far as back in the day when Solomon had all those wives and spread his seed and stuff like that, I mean, I guess it was a good time for him, but after a while, he had lost his mind. He was the wisest and the smartest, the smartest and the richest, I'm sorry, so-called on earth. So, a lot of people flock to him. So now if you're a man with a lot of wisdom and a lot of money, women might come to you, rapidly and stuff like that. But as in his story, what I'm saying, it was kind of to his downfall. But now I say that one man and one woman is the correct way to be, only because a lot of people are looking up to us, and we gotta lead the nation. We gotta show them what it really is, what it truly is, because there's people being kidnapped. Our children out here being kidnapped out here. We don't know what's going on, so to speak, in totality. There's a lot of stuff happening that in this time, everybody's on cell phones. They walk with their head down. There's a lot of things that can happen to the kids, and you want to be on top of them, and we want to bring people into the likeness of God. You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe in this time, when it's more people on earth than there's ever been on earth, that we need to have multiple wives and many children.
I eat that.
I'm going to piggyback on that, because one of the things when I was reading is God is creating an infirmity in relationships. And an infirmity, even as small as jealousy or envy between a relationship, creates a disharm. And if you want to make sure that you are loving and living with love and in perfect harmony, like you're supposed to be when it's a union, then you can't have the distraction or anything that will create the opposition, which is an infirmity. So if you're going to have a relationship that's going to involve multiple people, that's where that has to be on that one accord, that everyone is in agreement, so that no one is jealous, no one is envious of the other, because they're all for that same harmony or harmonious life. But that's also another culture that people are living under. It ain't Christianity. And so that's a whole nother thing that we would not consider that a sin, because in their lifestyle, that is natural. But in Christianity, And in the Bible, when people are jealous because they man with somebody else, that's not natural. Now, instead of you loving, you just created this forum where someone is not able to love their sister, not able to love their brother because they got to share and they don't want to share.
But the key thing to that, what you said and what the gentleman said, the key thing to what the gentleman said and you said, Juicy, is there has to be an understanding from the very beginning. And even in that time, even in Islam, you have to get a permission from the wife that is first if you can take on another wife. And you have to also be able to perform the same activities, financial states, and everything when you're embarking on in taking on another wife. I mean, but you can have infirmities, you can have children, and your wife or your husband can feel like they're not being loved, and the person is giving more love to the children than they are to the wife or to the husband, or you're spending too much time with your mother and doing things for your mother than you do for me. So infirmities are gonna happen regardless of what situations that we are in. It's just the fact that you have to get understanding in all that we do before we engulf ourselves.
It's funny you say it like that because when I was brought into the 5% Nation of Islam, the black man knowledge, the black woman wisdom, and the child understanding. And you do not give that until the one and the two come together that creates that understanding. Once you created the understanding within your Trinity, then there is no room for that Trinity to be broken and come into pieces because you have the knowledge and the wisdom and now the understanding to love through. And so it's the paradigm of the family and the Trinity that has been broken. And until we get back to how we are to love one another and each other, we're gonna be so out of that sequence. But that's different than Christianity too.
I'm gonna tell y'all this subject of this topic is such a hot topic. I reached out to about 10 pastors that I personally know. I have been knowing for years. Some recently I met, but most of them I've been knowing for years. Come on to the show to shed some light on the situation, and they were acting like I'm asking them to cut their left leg off.
Yeah.
And you know what? I myself was like, "Whoa, why he doing that?" Because I want to be a millionaire so freaking bad. And I'm like, damn. I don't want to be that bad either.
I couldn't get one.
But this is what I think about that, Juicy. I think the way people feel about that, people that live in the LGBT community, they want to be able to have the right to say and do things that they want to do. And that's totally fair. But I don't think a person that opposes that lifestyle or don't think the way that others think should also be punished and judged and not obliged to have a way of making an income because they don't agree with somebody else's lifestyle. That right there in itself is what we call being discriminatory because we all have a right to agree and disagree. We all have an asshole, which means we all have opinions. So therefore, we have to first understand that we can all agree to disagree and still live harmoniously together.
So with that being said, Legacy, let me ask you this question. Because we've had a previous show where the question was, is your business LGBTQ friendly? And we had a guest on the show who was faced with some prejudice against her sexuality. She went to a printing shop. The printing shop didn't want to take her business because what she was printing was LGBT topic. So because they had that choice, based on what you just said, they had a choice. Do you think they also have the right to be sued for not wanting to give you business?
I think that you don't have to go that far because you have more options. There are more people who are subjectable to being able to give you the service that you want and deserve.
Mr.
LOL, that
Mr. Legacy Peach says, LOL, that language legacy.
my bad. I had to bring the real. I've been good all day. But I think it depends on how the person goes about doing it. You know, it's almost like when a person tells you when you're applying for a job and they ask you, have you been convicted of a felony? Have you been convicted of a crime? I think that right there within itself is bias and prejudice. Do I think that people need to know if a person has been a murderer or a rapist or a molester or whatever? Yes. But I think that you shouldn't have to ask it, because regardless if you ask the question or not, you're going to run a check on every individual that comes your way. To have that question on the paper, and then you're making the person either have to lie to you and say, no, I haven't, because we're already being discriminated against for having a stock against us. So I think that when a person don't want my money because me being a black man, or I don't want to serve the black people, that's cool. I ain't got to spend my money with you. Now what I need to do is get with my people and create a business that don't have a problem servicing anybody. And I need to make sure that I line up right next door to you so I can make sure you don't get no more money. But to outright tell a person that I'm not going to service you because you live a certain lifestyle, I think you need to have to relocate and find you another job, because that right there within itself is being discriminative and and I'm gonna say racist, and I'm gonna say sexist, because what you're putting up for someone has nothing to do with you. You there to make a dollar.
Hey, Adrian.
What it is, Adrian? So no, I guarantee you, if that same guy, I guarantee if that same business and Donald Trump walked in there, you knowing that you didn't vote for him, you knowing that he told you to grab women by the pussy, but he want to come in here and drop $1 million in your store, you're still going to serve him. You're not going to tell Donald Trump that he can't spend his money in your store.
Right.
So we have to just be fair across the board and understand that you're here to make money, to make sure. Now, if this person was bringing in some paperwork in that she wanted you or he wanted you to, and it's two men engaging in oral sex on a flyer, two women engaging in oral sex on a flyer, I think you have a right to say, no, I don't, that's a bit tasteless for me, and I'm not doing it for that reason. But to say that I'm not going to do it just because I'm representing gay pride and I want some flyers made and you don't want to do the red, white, the rainbow color flyer saying, whatever date this is gay pride day, and they say, no, you gay, I ain't going to do that. That's wrong. That's wrong.
That's true. Yeah, it pissed me off on that particular show that we were talking about when we had the special guest, where when the person refused to take their money because it was LGBT printing, but the person was still willing to do business with them anyway, as opposed to finding somewhere else to do her business. I thought she was crazy. If you don't like my sexuality or me as a person, or because I'm black, or because I'm white, or because I'm whatever, then you don't want my money. Period.
Not only do you not want it, you don't need it.
Okay.
And what I'm finna do is, the excuse was at this time, and we love this individual that interviewed on this. Is the worry was, well, I still want to make sure she's able to, feed her children. That's why I said no. She has to worry about feeding her children, because you already doing your part. She's pretending to do her part by having a service. And then she does the opposite of trying to feed and provide and protect her children by saying, I can't service you. So she said she don't want your money. Not that she, not only say that she told you she didn't want your money forever, and that's how you should have took that.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Because you're not gonna call me a nigga because I have a problem with black people calling me nigga because I'm not that. But you're not gonna be in a white establishment, an Asian establishment, Arab establishment, and walk around calling me nigga, and I walk around with a smile on my face. Here you go, Mr. Charlie. Here you go. No. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna protest your goddamn building out here, and I'm gonna bring awareness to you that you don't see us as human beings. You only see us as a dollar. And that same dollar that I bring in your store, you don't even make it circulate in my community longer than one day, and you ship it off to your country to provide for your families in another country. So you really wouldn't fuck with legacy when it came down to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know enough people that it don't take but 30 signs to be out in front of your store for the news people be out there talking about what's going on. And then they must want to give me the mic.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. It is a wrap.
And then I call my sister Tayama up there for protection. And I'm good.
Don't tell Tiana she better run her vehicle through your store.
You better believe it. And then we go get Juicy, and Juicy hit him with that sweet. We go hit him with that good girl sweet bullshit, and then they think she coming in all princess, and then they know Juicy be done turned around and changed that mask on their ass. Woo! I know which one it is because I'm gonna show them hold on to it. They're gonna call me Anchorman Legacy.
Oh
wow.
Oh man. Listen. Tonight has been a wonderful show. We're trying to learn. We're trying to do something new. I want the ATL world to know we're out here trying to do something new. We're trying to shorten our time because we're getting syndicated ready. So we may not be going into 2-hour shows anymore. This is trial run, and we were glad that y'all was able to be a part of it and attend with us tonight. We definitely didn't want to ruffle any feathers because we don't feel like we do that. We try to enlighten the minds of the people, and we try to let people know that we're human beings first, and everybody deserves to be loved. So, with that being said, we're gonna get ready to sign out tonight. I'm gonna start with my sister from way over yonder with the juiciest cakes. Cross the
So
Mason Dixon line.
you can find me here, of course, every Friday and Tuesday at 9 p.m. on the ATL show. Check out my website, enliventoyou.com. And of course, on Facebook, Nicole Curtis. Instagram, Miss Juicy Cake. No, TikTok is Miss Juicy Cake. Instagram is Miss Beautiful. See, there's too many different places. Just tune in Tuesday and Friday, 9 p.m. on the ATL show.
All right. Thank you, Miss Cakes. We're definitely gonna move forward. We're gonna go to the boss lady on the show, the one that scares everybody, even 6 feet tall men that's at their job working.
First of all, I want to apologize, you guys, tonight because my mother was sick. By the time I got on the podcast, we was just leaving the hospital. So I was trying to make sure she was good before I went home. So that's why I was in and out. Got to take care of my old girl. But, you can reach me at Instagram, Tayama01. You can reach me at Tayama Sweetness Copeland on Facebook. You will also find me Monday and Fridays. I start my lives coming Monday to where I'll be selling my jewelry again, going live. But you also could go to justinttimeaccessories.com and you can also shop with me. We have all the bling and everything in between. You can reach me at 954-873-6659. Don't call me with no BS. I don't got time. And you can reach me on
She shoots it.
ATL, but we already know that. Bye.
All right, thank you. I want to also just give a shout out to my sister that couldn't be here tonight, the Savage one, T Savage, and she probably, I think she had a church or something, so she had to go give her time to God tonight, and we definitely understand that. But I want to bring the boss man out, the one that makes it possible for us to be able to have this, this platform, to be able to be out here to give people this information, for them to be able to also help us learn and grow in life with their output and information that they know. The one that is a thorn in my side, a pain in my back. And I'm talking about it ain't a little thorn, it's mother big. Mr. Anthony Brown. Come to the stage, boss.
I don't know who you're talking about, but I am the Anthony Brown, and I'm on every major platform: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, under the Anthony Brown Show. Also, join my Facebook page, Anthony the Writer. I'm gonna start sharing some information over there, so make sure you follow that page as well. I'm also on TikTok now as Anthony the Chosen One. So make sure you come over and follow me. I need some more followers and everything. It's fun. It's new to me. And the words that I live by heartily, and I want you all to live by them as well. As you got to grind until you shine. And for business purposes only, you can reach me by 561-768-3710.
All right. Well, you know who I am. Lord help us. You know who I am. I'm Legacy the Great. My Facebook pages are Dream Williams, YouTube Antonio Williams. My email address is legacyunlocked@mail.com. Business purposes only. Businesses purpose only. My phone number is 229-630-7615. You can also reach me here on the ATL show Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. and Friday night, 9 p.m. And I just want to say this in closing. Love everybody for who they are, how they are. If it's not affecting your lifestyle, don't judge. Keep it moving and do your thing, because you definitely don't want nobody in your business. So please stay out of other people's business. ATL.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Juicy.
ATL, they're back.
It's my time again.
Anthony, Tioma, T Savage, Legacy.
They did.
They're back. They're the best. Let's get it. Season 2.
I'm the best in this shit, that's fact. And there's only one reason that I came back. I'm here to set the fucking record straight. Okay. I'm the best, you other cats just fell the way. First off, ain't no beef with the spitters in my city. But if it comes with 28, man, shit get gritty. I'm shitty. Yeah, I shit on rappers. Either dead on the scene, since you wanna be actors. It's the message. I'm talking open hills and things. The school little feeling foggy. I'll be patient and waiting. It seems y'all forgot who really runs the throne. Screaming y'all number one, just because I was gone. See, ain't no stopping me now. I'm on the move. I'm on against team Rush when you ready to lose. The game, the street, the throne is took. This the message. Hope it leave you from the rapper. Sure. Yeah. The message. So y'all know. Yeah. The monster is back. And I'm at my spot. ATL, ho.